Your Excellencies, Reverends, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm greeting to you all in Novi Sad. I would dearly love to be addressing you in person today on the occasion of the General Assembly of the Council of European Churches. I had planned to be with you, but family and faith duties kept me in Ireland this weekend for the annual blessing of the graves in my home parish. This is a really important tradition where families come from far and near to remember loved ones no longer with us. It is perhaps a tradition that is shared in some of the church communities present in Novi Sad. 5 years on from your General Assembly in Budapest in 2013, you've moved further down the Danube, but remain in a region at the heart of our European continent. A region that has long been a crossroads of different cultures, identities and religions. Few cities or regions in Europe exemplify the richness of Europe's diversity like Novi Sad in the Vojvodina region. The motto of the European Union, united in diversity, could easily be your own. In a similar way, this spirit of overcoming our differences to focus on what unites us also lies at the heart of CEC. You describe your organisation as a fellowship of some 115 Orthodox, Protestant, Anglican and Old Catholic churches from all countries of Europe. What unites you is far more than a set of principles or values, important though these may be. You are united around the person of Jesus Christ, who preached a gospel of love, tolerance and above all hope. When your President, Bishop Hill, came to see me earlier this year, he explained that the theme of the General Assembly is witness. The fact that you gather here together in fellowship, coming from so many different backgrounds, is already a very powerful witness. As the people of Novi Sad and the surrounding regions are acutely aware, peace and unity cannot be taken for granted. As recently as 1999, the bridges that spanned the Danube at Novi Sad, powerful symbols in their own right, were destroyed. Those bridges have now been rebuilt. If we are serious about keeping the peace, we must constantly build bridges, constantly strive to keep open the channels of communication, no matter how difficult that may be. 18 months ago, the President of the European Parliament, Antonio Tajani, asked me to take on the responsibility for Parliament's regular dialogue with churches and religious communities. Within the EU, this dialogue is provided at the highest constitutional level by way of Article 17 of the Lisbon Treaty. In the European Parliament, we take this dialogue very seriously. It is an opportunity to build bridges between our institutions in Europe and the faith communities, such as those represented by CEC. I'm very pleased to say that CEC is strongly and professionally represented in Brussels by your staff there, one of our most valued partners in the dialogue. The European Parliament is directly elected by European citizens and has a particular role to play in the evolution of the European Union. Citizens must be firmly at the core of the European project. We must keep a constant and open conversation with citizens about their concerns and their hopes for Europe. We must listen very carefully to the many different views and voices and give leadership at this time of change. Europe, and not just the European Union, has faced a number of crises in recent years. You are discussing some of those challenges we faced during your Future of Europe sessions. Since you held your last General Assembly, we've jointly been grappling with issues such as the economic difficulties, the arrival of migrants from war-torn countries, threats to peace and stability in our eastern and southern neighbourhoods, and broader global threats to our way of life, whether from terrorism or climate change. These are the sorts of issues that European policymakers need to discuss with organisations like CEC and its member churches spread across our continent. The two other themes of your gathering, justice and hospitality, point to how we might tackle our challenges. I always say that even if the treaties didn't oblige us to have this dialogue with you, common sense would make us do it. Good public policy should have people at its heart, and to shape that policy we need to talk with the people concerned. In my view, churches are close to the people. You're present in every city, town and village across the countryside. Churches serve an important social function, gathering people together where they can discuss their concerns. Churches can be a point of contact for people who are new to the area and can help them to be included in the community. There is another reason why the churches have a special role in reflecting on the future of Europe. The founding fathers of European integration wished to create a community of shared values. It is in the very nature of churches to ask the big questions, to try to see the bigger picture, to work for the common good, and to identify the fundamental principles, values and virtues that underpin our society. It is my sincere hope that you can contribute to the public debate by underpinning what the peoples of Europe have in common, starting with the human dignity of each and every person. Because of Europe's dark past in the 20th century, we have a special responsibility when it comes to defending human dignity and promoting peace. The Founding Fathers created a very unique experiment. They convinced sovereign states to put aside their historical differences and pool their sovereignty in the interests of the wider community and the greater good. We need constant reminding of where we have come from and what the world's most successful peace project has delivered for generations of Europeans. It is all too easy to forget and to slip into the seeing violence almost as a default setting for dispute resolution. Of course, looking back is not enough to shape the future. But history does teach us that bad things can and do happen unless there is a concerted effort in society to strive for higher ideals. Recent conflicts not far from our borders have led large numbers of migrants to come to our countries, fleeing violence, destruction and tyrannical oppression and looking for a better life. If these people, including many Christian minorities, chose Europe, it is because our families of nations represent hope in a dark world of despair, a light in the darkness. We all recall the images of tens of thousands of distressed men, women and children trudging across Serbian fields in search of a safe haven. In the same way, full membership of the European Union remains the aspiration of many in Serbia and across the Western Balkans, despite all the recent difficulties faced by the Union. With your rich culture and heritage, you will be a welcome addition to our fellowship. On that journey, I believe that the churches of the region can make a valuable contribution. Your moral leadership can help promote the rule of law, respect for minorities, the fight against corruption and social justice. This year was designated the European Year of Cultural Heritage. Our shared European heritage is much more than historic monuments, churches and monasteries, though they are important. It is also about the debt our European continent and culture owes to Christianity. We recognise and regret that Christianity has sometimes been a cause of division on our continent. We only need to think of the conflicts that followed the Reformation 500 years ago, or indeed the Great Schism between East and West 1,000 years ago. We also pay tribute to the many good things in European culture that have their roots in Christian institutions and principles: hospitals, schools, universities, human rights. Novi Sad has been chosen to be the European Capital of Culture in 2021 and the European Youth Capital next year. These two honours paid tribute to Novi Sad's heritage at an important European cultural crossroads, as well as hope for the future embodied in your young people. I wish you every success with those two initiatives. I hope that your rich religious tapestry will be prominent and will feature. And I wish all of the delegates at the General Assembly of the Conference of European Churches every success with your deliberations and reflections. You are in my thoughts and prayers. And some words of inspiration before I really go from a famous Irish poet, Seamus Heaney. Here on earth my labours were the stepping stones to upper air. Lives that suffer and come right are backlit by immortal light.